I was going to talk about the Liverpool game for today's video, and let's be fair, we're playing them this evening. It's an important game, right? But there's only really one subject that I want to talk about, and that is West Ham under-18's epic and emphatic 5-1 FA Youth Cup win against Arsenal. And let's be fair, Arsenal had home advantage here. There was nothing dodgy about it. It's just the draw happened, apparently, so I understand it. The draw happened that it would be at the Emirates before anybody even knew it was going to be in the final. Hey, look, luck of the draw for Arsenal. Also, you would suspect. I tell you something, though, that didn't sound like or look like a home game when you were watching it at all, because there were 8,000 raucous West Ham fans who were packed into that stadium to watch our fantastic young football team just romp home, quite frankly. Just to remind you, I don't think you need any, you know this yourselves, and you would have watched the game. Sorry, I've got the wrong bloody glasses on, how that happened. You would have watched the game against Southampton as well. That was 6-1 in the previous round. They're quite some team. This has not happened since 1999, by the way. And we all know what came out of that FA Youth Cup team. And this will be the same. This is fact, by the way. Facts, with the capital letters and all the rest of it. End of, all that stuff at the end. This is the most talented crop of young players in the country right now. The most talented group. I'm not saying other clubs don't have a talented player. Of course they do. But as a group, collectively, in terms of a whole bunch of them, it's us now. It's at West Ham. Will everybody go on and have a full and fruity professional career? No, probably not. But I tell you what, a few of them will. And it's really important, because you never know how these players mature. It's really important that there is a pathway and a route to the first team for these young men. That's crucially important. Because otherwise, what's the point, right? We're going to talk about a few of them individually in a minute, by the way. What's the point in having an academy? We are known as the Academy of Football. When I say we are known, I don't think we are that much anymore, but we festoon it. It's festooned on everything we do. You see it on the badges. You see it embroidered on shirts. You see it printed on the carpet at the London Stadium. The Academy of Football, when you walk in there, when you walk through the hallway, it's there. It's on posters. It's everywhere. We love it. It's the moniker of West Ham, the Academy of Football. So we embrace it, at least in terms of what we like to project out there. It's a bit of a virtue signal in that sense, isn't it? Look at us. We produce it. Well, do you know what? Now it's time we do it. And now it's time that we produce a really solid pathway for these young men to get into that first team. It's really important that happens. That actually, rather than sometimes having two goalkeepers on the bench, one of these guys, even if you do one at a time, one of these guys gets to go on there and gets their chance. When I say a path to the first team, I don't just mean 10 minutes. Give them a chance. Give them a couple of games. Let's see what they can do. If they do okay, give them another one. Save yourselves a lot of money with an academy that way. And there's some that look absolutely brilliant. West Ham did not have it all their own way in this game. Far from it. No, number one, Arsenal scored first. Okay, West Ham came back into it, but then Arsenal had a period of pressure. Arsenal were knocking on the door. Terry in goal had some saves to make. He really did. There were some really important blocks by all the defenders there, who all defended absolutely manfully. Kaelan Casey have impressed me in previous games this season as well. Don't get me wrong, Scarles defended well, but it's really important with this lad, what a delivery he's got, by the way, and it's really important with him that we don't allow a Harrison Ashby situation to develop. And I know there's the whole narrative with Ashby that, hold on, he wasn't going to sign a contract anymore. I think he wasn't going to sign a contract because there was no pathway into the first team. I think we'd have showed him that there was, then maybe, just maybe, we'd have a chance of keeping him. So we understand it. Mark Noble is heavily involved with this group. He trains with them. And so we're led to believe there's been a purge of players who are sort of clogging up the pathway. The sort of 20-year-old, 21-year-old players who are clogging up the pathway to allow these lads room to make it through to the first team. Whilst that's a shame for anyone that's been released, okay, I would, if that works and they do get that, then I think it's very, very important. Again, what's the point in ploughing all this money? Not cheap to run an academy. It's really not. But I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. But I'll be more excited if I think they get a chance. It's really important that they do. I mean, going back, Orford's long-range passing, corners, that sort of thing, very good. Very, very good range of passing on this lad. I need to have to apologise if I miss people out. I wasn't just sort of reading every single name out. And I said this against Southampton. I thought they all played well. There's no passengers in the team. It's weird to see that. Weird to see 2 games back to back where you don't see a passenger. I mean, even West Ham. West Ham, we just played with myself and Gio did. Where's my book? I probably lost my book somewhere. I probably can't show it. You know I've shown you enough times. Somewhere amongst here is me. There you go. It's down there. It's me player ratings book, right? Me and Gio do our player ratings. Even in the player ratings for the last game against Bournemouth, which was 4-0, I mean, it's full of 7s, 9s. You know, there's still a couple of 6s in there. Game before that, against Ghent, someone even got a 10 out of 10. Yeah, there's still a 6 out of 10 in there. I'm not saying 6 out of 10's a passenger, but my point is, even in the games where you're absolutely dominant, there's normally 1 or 2 who aren't quite as good. I've got to say, back-to-back games of West Ham, I think everybody pulled their weight. I really do. And some people were just bloody outstanding, quite frankly. Earthy, my words, he's got some technique, hasn't he? Comfortable on either foot. Scored the opening goal, did he? I think he scored the opening goal. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, had the first shot blocked, and then the second one, I mean, it was just accurate from long range. Really good. And delivered and scored with certainty. You know, you've got a real conviction to hit a ball like that. I think these are confident lads as well. Now, if you've got ability, they've got confidence in their ability, and you've got to really praise the coaching staff, Kevin Keeney's coaching staff, for giving them the confidence to go out and do that. I remember reading the books by Sven-Göran Eriksson. I know I've mentioned it lots of times. But Eriksson was always talking about players on the training pitch and actually them having the confidence to try this stuff. You say everyone looks good in training. Loads of people look good in training, but you've got to have bottle to take it out into the big games. And that would have felt like a big game for those players today. Sorry, I know I did put this up Wednesday morning, but as I record it, it's obviously it's just after the game. And the West Ham fans would have made that feel like a home game, like a big occasion. They never would have forgot it anyway, because they played well and they got the emphatic win and they got the trophy, and they'll forevermore be known as FA Youth Cup winners. However, as a sense of occasion, they got to feel, those young players got to feel what it was like to be a first-team player, because there was 8,000 raucous, loud, noisy old West Ham fans cheering them on. I felt ashamed, the Arsenal fans, actually. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, it'll be on YouTube, and it'll just go and check it out. Because there were just massive gaps in the whole stadium. So you'd see a couple of Arsenal fans, and there'd be 3 or 4 empty seats, then another couple of Arsenal fans, then 3 or 4 empty seats. It was sparse. They were sprinkled around the stadium. West Ham, 8,000 West Ham fans, shoulder to shoulder, singing in full voice. It was, West Ham fans turned up and they supported their team, and it was, that's a hell of a thing. They'll never forget that, those young players. For that night, they felt what it's like to be a Premier League player, because they were supported like they were Premier League players. They were supported like they were West Ham players. And I thought that was really, really good. Anyway, absolutely brilliant. You know what? They don't make a lot of, particularly online, make a lot of noise, Arsenal fans. But actually, when it come to the crunch there, I think we really showed what a classy club we are, and just how supportive our fans are. It was amazing to watch, really. So what was I saying? Earthy, discussed Earthy. Yep. A block shot. Marshall, he's sharp, isn't he? I mean, crikey. And I'm not sure if it was it Kodua's ball for Marshall's goal. Really, I mean, just sharp as anything. Marshall is a real scrapper as well. Got that sort of street kid thing about him, isn't he? Got that sort of little bit of Rooney about him in many respects. Some play. I mean, a lot of these boys are so talented. I mean, Casey does look like he's going to be. You don't want to put too much pressure on anyone in particular. So we'll leave it. I won't say too much about that. Kodua. His goal was just ridiculous. Which is ridiculous. I'll just get replayed over and over again. particularly in Kodua's house. He'd be looking at that on his phone. I'll tell you what, I bet he's still awake, wide awake, ping, at 2 o'clock in the morning, looking at his goal again. But he can't believe it. Cannot believe it. Honestly, those boys will be on such a high, they'll be buzzing. And the parents, whoa, imagine being a parent, one of those kids. Amazing. So yeah, I mean, Kodua, I don't know, again, I alluded to it after the Southampton game. Kevin Keane speaks about the story. Special praise for the captain, Kodua, and the story. I don't know what the story is. Might not be anything particularly profound, might just be an injury, but it might be something you don't know. Maybe you're not meant to know. Whatever. I don't care. He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Special mention from Mubama. Scored a hat-trick in the last round. It's in the semi-final. No goal in this one. Don't worry about it, mate. I tell you what, he looks better every time I see him. I think he's more suited to the way West Ham play under David Moyes than Danny Ings is. That's not to demean or belittle Danny Ings. Far from it. Good Premier League goal scorer. I don't think he's overly suited to West Ham's style under David Moyes. I think Mubama is. And I think he's earned that. I think he's earned... And I think a few of them have, and particularly Mubama. I think because of his size, because he looks fully grown, I mean, maybe he's a year or two older than some of the other lads as well. Still got some filling out to do, maybe some of them. He's ready now. He's a man. He's a grown man. And I think maybe sometimes we've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench. But, maybe there's a bit more room for Mubama on it. Let's give him a go. You just never know what's going to happen. I'd certainly trust him to do a better impression of the sort of... I know he's left-footed and he's slightly different. Maybe, doesn't go quite as wide as much. But I would trust him to play in the Antonio role more than I would trust Danny Ings to play in the Antonio role. A lot of the players, and I said it in the previous round, a lot of the players are comfortable on both feet. Absolutely brilliant, by the way. I don't know if any of the players have watched this. If you do, well done. Done so well. And made all the West Ham fans proud. It would really be something if this season we won the FA Youth Cup and we won the Conference League. There you go. No talk about Liverpool at all, was it? Anyway, we'll do all that later. Hour and 5 minutes before kick-off, myself and Gio will be live over on the main Hammers Chat channel. Not this one, we got 2. Well, we got a third, also a Patreon one. I won't muddy the waters and confuse you now with all of that. The link's in the description below if you want to check it out. Hour and 5 minutes, myself and Gio will read that. Well, I don't know the team. Gio knows the team. Gio will read the team out. I'll say, ooh, or something like that. Anyway, and we'll have a little cheeky bet. And then I'm pretty sure, and rightly so, that in the build-up to that Liverpool game, we won't just be talking about Liverpool. We won't just be talking about that West Ham first team. I bet during the build-up, we end up having a little chat about the under-18s and their FA Youth Cup win against Arsenal. And do you know what? I think rightly so.